A lot of people are complacent in life. Complacency is when we settle for an outcome that's beneath our potential. And that's what people do. They get an outcome that's good, not great, but good, and they settle. They say, hey, that's enough. That's sufficient for me. But every time they do that, they're going to get worse. That's because entropy comes in and hurts any progress they could have made. I like to say it like this: all progress requires intention, but regression only requires neglect. And that if I want to improve an area of my life, if I want to get better, I have to put in deliberate and intentional effort in the area I want to improve. But to get worse, all I have to do is neglect that area. And once again, entropy will come in and hurt the progress I could have made. And that happens every time we're complacent. When we're complacent, we're going to get worse because by law, if you're not getting better, you're going to get worse. So the goal is to get better every day, to be on a path that says, hey, I'm going to make improvements no matter what. That is what potential is. See, potential is not some line you cross and say, yes, I finally reached it. I reached my potential. No, potential is the path of getting better every day until you die. That's the point. Get better every single day. Become more continually, perpetually be making progress. But when you settle for complacency, you get off that path and you're going to get worse. So how can we make sure we're on the path of potential, the path of getting better every day, instead of the downstream current of complacency? And one way to do that is by setting standards for yourself. A standard is a mental line I refuse to go under. And standards are powerful because they shift your perspective on what you can accomplish. For example, take two people taking a math quiz. One person says, yo, I want at least an 85 on this quiz, and I'll be cool with 85, I just want that. Well, another person sets a standard. They say, hey, I want at least an 85 on this quiz. I want to get more, but I want at least an 85. By simply having that shift of perspective, instead of being complacent, setting a standard, one person is going to get a better result. They're going to work towards their potential instead of the other person because they need to put in more work. That standard motivates them to get better, to become more than a complacent outcome does. And another thing about complacency is if I was going for 85 and I get a 90, well, now I'm not motivated as much. I'm like, yo, I'm cool, I'm fine. I got a 90. Well, guess what? I just got to get an 80 next time and I'll average out to 85. I'm cool. And now I'm not getting better because I'm going to put in less work towards the outcome I want to receive since now the outcome is less. But if I set a standard and I exceed my standard, now I'm like, man, I can even set a higher standard, right? Exceeding your standard makes you more motivated, while exceeding complacency makes you less motivated. So by having higher standards, we can have more motivation. And the thing about standards that I love is that no one sets standards for you. No one says, hey, that's too high of a standard. You have to have a lower standard. But that's what society wants you to do. They want you to be complacent. They want you not to have high standards, have high expectations, set dreams, set goals, have all these outcomes for yourself. They want you to be complacent. Because when you're complacent, you're going to get worse. Your mind's going to get worse. Your thoughts going to get worse. And you can be like every single other person. Set higher standards for yourself, and naturally, you're going to put in more work. You're going to be on the path of fulfilling your potential. However, even though setting high standards is very powerful, it can motivate you, it's not something we should all be doing every single time because it leads to disappointment. Desire without work is disappointment. Like if I have something I want, but I'm not willing to put in the work it takes to get it, I'm going to experience disappointment. So if I set a standard for myself saying, yo, I want to make $1,000,000 next year, but I'm only making $10,000 this year, like, that standard is a good goal to have. But if I'm not willing to change what I do, I'm not willing to change my mindset or change the work I put in, I'm not willing to change anything, by having that desire, I automatically going to experience disappointment. Because disappointment is an unfulfilled desire. Every time we desire something and we don't get it, we may experience disappointment. So it's better not to desire than desire and not put in work. So setting high standards, yes, is good, but you have to be willing to put in work to fulfill that standard. Otherwise, you're automatically going to experience disappointment. And the thing about disappointment is it leads to complacency. Because when I'm going after something and I don't reach what I'm going after and I feel disappointment, well, now I lose a sense of worthiness. I say, man, I'm not good enough. This thing is above me. I'm beneath it. I can't reach this outcome. And that leads to complacency. Now I don't want to go after another outcome. I don't want to go after something else because my perspective, my perception says I'm not good enough. right? So we want to avoid disappointment. We want to keep setting high standards, but put in work to reach that standard. So how do we do this? How do we motivate ourselves to put in work to fulfill the standards we may have for ourselves so that we can stay on the path of fulfilling our potential instead of a downstream current of complacency? And there's three ways to motivate yourself to stop being complacent, to put in work. And the first step is actually just to hate complacency. If I hate being complacent, if I hate the situation I'm in, I'm going to be motivated to put in work to change. I'm going to be motivated to do something different. And that's how so many people are. They're in a situation that's bad enough for them to actually want change, but it's good enough for them to be okay with complacency. They don't hate the situation they're in enough. They don't hate the outcomes they're getting enough. And because of that, they are complacent. They're saying, hey, it's not what I want. I don't even like it, but it's good enough that I don't need to change. That's complacency. And they're going to get worse. Their situation is going to get worse. They're not becoming more. And by law, they have to be becoming less. But if I choose to set a higher standard for myself because I hate the situation I'm in, I'm going to be motivated putting work. That's why it's better for some people to be in a worse situation than they're in right now than a better. Because if they're in a worse situation, then they're going to want to change because they hate where they are so much. I'm not saying be ungrateful. I'm not saying not be content, to be discontent. No, don't be discontent. Just choose to want something different because you're trying to get more. It's not bad to want to reach your potential in any area of life. If I say I want to get as strong as I possibly can, that's not bad, right? I'm pretty strong right now. I'm fit right now. But if I say this is good enough for me and I settle, I'm going to get worse. But if I say, hey, I want to get better, that's not bad. It's not bad to get better. It's not bad to be in a path of reaching potential. But a belief says, yo, it's bad to make a lot of money. Yo, it's bad to get so strong. Yo, it's bad to spend so much time on work. Well, by having that belief, you're not fighting against the outcome you actually want. If I say I want to make a lot of money, but I believe it's bad to, well, I'm never going to work to become something I despise. I got that from Mind Going. Never going to work to become something I despise. If I despise making money, if I despise being strong, if I despise being this person, I'm not going to work to become that person. That's inconsistent to the belief I have. So we have to change what we think about the situation we're in. If we think our situation is good enough, we're not going to work to become different because we are settling for complacency. So don't be discontent. Don't be unhappy, ungrateful. Just choose to change. Choose to get better. Choose to reach your potential. That's the first step. Hate complacency. Hate the situation in and be motivated to change. Now the second step is be motivated. So you're like, okay, what does that mean? Well, what I'm saying is reframe your motivation. See, a lot of people are motivated by something that is not motivating. They're motivated by getting in a car, by getting a house, by getting something materialistic. And that's not bad, but it's just not a strong enough motivation for you to put in the work required to get it at times, right? So we need a stronger motivation. So where does this motivation come from? How can we get a strong enough motivation for us to put in work to reach the high standards we may have for ourselves? Well, one of the greatest motivations is death. Think about a lion. A lion, I love lions. Lions are motivated to hunt, to work, to put in effort, even though they don't always want to. Why? Because he wants to eat. If he doesn't hunt, he won't eat. I love how Eric Thomas said. He said it. He said it like this: a lion does not need to be pushed. A lion does not need anything external. That thing that it needs is inside. So every day a lion wakes up and runs and chases the gazelle. Why? Because he realizes that if he is to survive, if his kids are to survive, he must eat. So he's saying, yo, a lion is motivated because if he does not hunt, if he does not eat, he will not survive. That is a great motivator. Death. We have to be hungry for getting better results. Because if we're hungry, we're going to be motivated. If we have the frame of, yo, if I don't change my situation, I'll rather die than not change my situation. Well, that itself will be motivating enough for you to change your situation. You're just not motivated by something because you don't have a strong enough motivation. So other than death, what is a good motivator? A good motivator is someone else. Just like the lion who wants to eat, wants to hunt, so he can feed his kids. Right? If I am motivated because I want my mom to get something or my mom to be in a different situation than she's in, that motivates me to put in work, not to settle for complacency. You know, I may be good, but if someone I love is not good, I'm motivated to get them something so they can be good as well. So That's the second way to make sure you're motivated to put in work, by being motivated. Reframe your motivation. Find something motivating, whether it's death, whether it's your family, or whether it is your belief. And that leads to the third way to be motivated to put in work and avoid complacency. It is by having a stronger aim. See, a lot of people don't have aims. They don't have something they're going after. And because of that, they are not motivated. Like, if I don't have something I want to achieve, why would I be motivated to put in work? It's useless. It's a waste of energy. It would be better and more easy for me to just stay where I am if I'm not trying to go and get something, right? It's easier for a lion who's already full not to hunt than to go to hunt because he doesn't need it to hunt. So if we have an aim, if we have something we want to go after, we will be motivated to put in work. So what is a good aim to go after? One good aim is found in your beliefs. One belief I have is in God. I have a belief in eternity, that there's life after death. So what I do in this life, every single word I speak, every single thought I have, every single thing I do, everything matters. So because of that aim, saying, yo, I want to please God, and because of that belief saying there's life after death, because of those two things, guess what? I'm motivated to put in work. I'm motivated to be on that path of fulfilling my potential. Why? Because everything I do will matter forever. But if I don't have that belief, if I have the belief of, hey, let us eat, let us drink, for tomorrow we die, well, why would I be motivated to not settle for complacency? Because complacency is more comfortable. Complacency is easier. But if I have a belief saying, yo, life after death, well, now I'm motivated to get better every single day so that I can reach my aim. Set an aim for yourself. Now, aims does not mean boasting. No, it's not saying I'm going to get this outcome in this way at this time. No, clarity can be done without boasting. You want to be clear about an aim, because a goal often leads to complacency. Like, if I set a goal, it's like having a target that I want to shoot after, right? But setting an aim is different. An aim is just having the bow and arrow and going after something. Now, the thing about an aim is that if your aim is good, all you need is power, and you're going to hit your target. That's all you need. Your aim is accurate. You just need power. So if I have an aim and I have a goal and I'm going after the goal and I pull all my might and I can go through the target and get a different result. That's the difference between an aim and a goal. A goal is saying, I just want to hit this target. I just want this result. And you're going to settle if you could have got more. But by having that aim and saying, yo, I want to become the best I can be, you're going to put in work and you might get a better result than just setting a goal, because you're becoming better, not just getting a result. So choose to set aims, choose to have beliefs that are accurate, that are consistent with reality, and that can help you to avoid complacency. Those are three things to be motivated to put in work. The first step to be motivated to put in work is to hate complacency. Hate it. Hate the situation you're in, and you can be motivated to change. The second thing is to be motivated. Find something that motivates you, whether it's a lion trying to feed himself and his kids, whether it's you avoiding death, whatever it is, and change your aims. Change your aim, because guess what? Enough power, you're going to hit your target if you just aim correctly. If you just keep on getting better, keep on being consistent, keep on getting progress, you're going to get good enough to reach the results you want to achieve. See, one thing about outcomes in life, we can't control the outcomes we get in life. We can only influence them through our own behaviors, through our own actions. And good outcomes are the result of consistent positive behaviors. When I master my behaviors, my actions, my thoughts, my deeds, when I master the inputs, I'm going to get a good output. But if I have an output already in mind, I'm going to settle when I get that output that I wanted to get. But if my output is just saying I want to get better, I'm going to continue to go. And guess what? I get the greatest output, which is not a result. It's not a materialistic thing. It's not even food. The greatest output is me becoming more. That is the thing about work. That's the thing about reaching potential. I love what Proverbs says. It says, in all labor, there's profit. Every time you're getting better, you're going to get a profit from it. Now, the profit may not be something external. You may not win the championship. You may not get the relationship. You may not get the results you want to see, but guess what? You're going to get better. Why? Because you're getting better. You're becoming more. And by becoming more, you're able to reach the higher standards you have for yourself. But complacency also makes you settle in your mind. It makes you settle in the results you're trying to achieve. Because if I have a goal and I have an easier way to get that goal, or if I can cheat to get that goal, I may take that path. So I may reach the outcome I wanted to get, but I didn't get better. But if I choose to set an aim, I'm not going to cheat myself. I'm not going to remove myself from the path of getting better because it works on me as I'm working on it. All work works. It works on you. It works on what you want to achieve. And just all works. Thank you guys for watching this video. If this helped you anyway, feel free to subscribe. If you want to learn how to become influential, read this book. It's called Controlling the Controllables, How Anyone Can Become Influential. And the message is, when you control, you can control. You influence others to do the same. So do that. And one of the principles about influence is getting better. Like, if you're not going to get better, you're not going to reach your potential in influence. Why is that? Well, first is because you're not going to be able to influence high achievers. Like, one thing I suck at is golf. I'm terrible at golf, right? So I don't have influence over Tiger Woods. I may have advice that could actually help him, but I don't have credibility because I haven't got better. I've been complacent in that area, right? But someone else who's great at golf decides to get Tiger Woods advice. Well, he is more likely to take their advice. Why? Because they have more credibility, right? So the second reason is because people who are under our influence, people who are under our leadership already, if we're not getting better, they're going to surpass us because we can't teach them anything else, and we're not leading by example. So we're hypocrites. We're hypocrites. We're telling them to do something that we're not willing to do, or we're not choosing to do. So just get better every day. Complacency is going to make you less influential, but reaching the path of fulfilling your potential will make you more influential. So if you want to learn about influence, read this book. It will help you become more influential. And lastly, just remember the analogy. There's a path of fulfilling your potential. It's getting better every day. Complacency is a downstream current that makes you worse every day. Choose to be getting better, and you'll reach your potential.